What happens? You said you were gonna stop smoking. You said last time was the last time, and here you are smoking again. Is that the sound of your inner voice? Let's move away from that. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to condemn you. And I'm not here to make you feel guilty. I'm here to actually give you 5 tips that can support you if you've relapsed after smoking weed. These are tips that I've used back when I used to smoke weed a lot. And they're also tips that I've given my coaching clients. I'm a creative coach and I help artists and creatives show up consistently and authentically. And more than a few of them have had smoking weed as something that stopped them from being able to really show up how they want to. These are the tips that I have given them that I think have really supported them, and I hope they can support you too. So the first tip is we need to help you move from expectations to reality, and we need to help you move there before you actually smoke again. Because I know what it's like when I used to smoke a lot. When I was sober, I would think, oh my gosh, things would be so much better if I was high. You know, like I was just like, food will taste better, air will smell fresher, light will shine brighter, this TV show will be funnier, everything is better when you're high. As I'm speaking, I'm like, are we convincing ourselves of this? No, we're not. Because the thing is, that's the expectation, right? And if you've gotten to the point in your smoking, and you're probably at that point if you're watching this, where getting high doesn't actually make you feel as good as it used to, then the reality is that food doesn't actually taste that much better. The conversation isn't actually that much better. It's actually kind of weird. Maybe you feel a little bit anxious. Maybe there's that paranoia. Maybe you're just really tired. And chances are you feel regret. You're like, oh, I really wish I hadn't done this. We need to get you to remember that before you actually start smoking weed. And there are a few ways we can do that. My favorite way is through voice notes. I love to record a voice note to myself. So you can literally just pull up your phone after you finish smoking and you're in that regret phase, and you can just record a voice note to yourself, just explaining what happens. Why it happens, and why you would really prefer to have it not happen again. And just be honest about how you really feel and about the fact that you don't feel that great and you really regret doing it. So having this audible proof of your actual experience will give you something that you can listen to the next time that you're looking to smoke weed. And you can say, okay, I'm really feeling this craving to smoke. It is so strong. And you can at least give yourself the minute or the 5 minutes, however long your voice note is, of a bit of friction so that you can listen and say, okay, this is what I know what I think I'm gonna feel like. This is what I actually feel like. And then you can decide if it's actually worth it. Let's talk more about creating friction, because this is actually one of the most powerful ways that can really help you and keep you from relapsing again. When we relapse, we tell ourselves this story that we don't have control, that we don't have power, that actually the weed has this power over us. And no matter how much we want to stop, no matter how much we know it's not good for us, we are powerless. And so the thing about creating friction is that it basically tones our muscles and gives us that chance to remind ourselves, actually, no, we are in control. So I want to offer 2 additional ways of creating friction. So the first one is really simple. You literally just go to your phone and you set a timer before you start smoking. If you've already agreed, you try to fight it for as long as you can, and you're like, listen, I just need to smoke, all right? If you've already made that decision, okay, the decision has been made. But what if we could just add a little bit of time between you making that decision and you actually doing it? And what I would offer is that you start with 5 minutes, right? Just a 5-minute timer, and you just sit there and you just watch it go by. And what you do is you show yourself and you prove to yourself, I can actually go these 5 minutes without smoking. You probably already knew that, right? But by having made that decision to smoke, but still waiting 5 minutes, the part of you that knows that you're in control and you have all the power is 5 minutes stronger. And if you want, you can test yourself and you can say, I'm gonna do 10 minutes. I'm gonna do 20 minutes. And you can just start extending the time before every time you smoke, where you realize, wait a minute, I made this decision, but actually I still have the power to say never mind. And you may actually get to the point where instead of smoking, because you gave yourself 30 minutes, you actually decided to do something else, and now that urge has actually passed. The second way you can create friction is through journaling. You can just actually pause and write down what's going on that you are feeling that you need to smoke. Because in my experience and in the experience of my clients, the urge to smoke is not coming out of nowhere. For me, it was always because I was super stressed out about something. I was super scared about something. I was super overwhelmed about something in my life. And I knew the easiest, fastest, quickest way to suppress that feeling would be to get high. And so that's the reason why I would smoke, and it would work, of course, until it stopped working, right? And so the process of just bringing awareness to what's actually going on inside of you and journaling it out will allow you to be like, okay, I want to smoke because I actually want to stop feeling this way. And you know that smoking isn't going to actually change the reality of your situation or your circumstance. And in fact, it's just kind of made it worse, if anything, by bringing light to the things that you've been scared to look at. Just that process is going to make you feel better. And so truly just the writing prompt of what is going on in my life right now that's making me want to smoke, and just let yourself write like 3 full pages in your journal before you give yourself the chance to smoke. And then you can ask yourself at the end, do I even still feel like smoking? And do I really believe that smoking is going to make me feel better? And a big thing with all of this is to really be compassionate with yourself, because you are doing your best. You are trying the methods, you are finding the coping mechanisms that are helping you get through the day. I actually had a discovery call with someone.
Hey Denise girl.
My discovery calls are free, by the way. She was talking about one of the thoughts that kind of runs through her head whenever she finds herself smoking when she's been trying to quit and she's relapsed. And her thought was, where would I be if I hadn't started smoking? Because she started when she was pretty young. And she has this whole scenario, she has this whole idea of how different her life would be, the things she would have accomplished, the experiences she would have had if she would have just never made that choice to start smoking. What I did during the coaching call was offer her the alternative. Where would you be if you hadn't found a coping mechanism that helped you survive? Given what she experienced, and it was a lot, there are some people who choose,
Actually, I'm not gonna keep doing this.
this thing being life, because this is actually too intense, too overwhelming, and they're gone now. But instead, Denise found a way to help her get through each day and survive, to the point where she could say, okay, I'm actually at the point where I am thinking I want to make different choices and I want to, live a different kind of life. Many people don't even get to that stage. So I think remembering the compassion, remembering the non-judgment, and remembering actually how far you've come and how weed has actually helped you, because the thing is, you didn't start smoking weed for no reason. If you're able to connect to the part of you that actually did think you needed that and give that version of you love instead of judgment, it'll be a lot easier to quit. The next tip I want to offer to help you if you have relapsed is to create a post-smoking ritual. I know for me, after I smoked after not smoking for a while, I would feel so physically bad, like I'd feel like this dull headache, I'd feel like sloggy, I'd feel like my body would feel tired, I'd feel, of course, emotionally bad because I did this thing that I said I wasn't gonna do anymore. And I kind of would not do anything about it. I would just slowly start to feel better after hours and hours and hours have passed, right? But you don't have to just wait for the feeling to go away. You can create some intention around making yourself feel better. I would suggest taking a shower. Just water is very grounding, so you can just really feel the cleansing power of the water washing away your sins and all of your mistakes and all of your regrets. If you're in a space that allows you to go for a walk in nature, that's also really grounding. It's like letting yourself feel connected to the earth, feel connected to your life. The other thing I would really suggest for a post-smoking ritual is sobbing, weeping, crying. In my experience, I was smoking because I didn't want to feel something, but actually that feeling, if I just let myself express it, I would have felt better. And a big thing that's actually helped me on my post-smoking journey and really helped me to truly quit is that I actually just let myself feel my feelings instead of suppressing them. And that brings me to like the final secret about quitting, which is that you don't actually quit. You're probably like, what do you mean I'm very actively trying to quit smoking? Like, what are you talking about? The thing is, when your life becomes so beautiful and so full of things that excite you and fill up your heart, and relationships that really fill you up, and hobbies that really like get you excited, when you live a life that's beautiful, smoking becomes like that friend who you haven't spoken to in a while. And you're like,
Oh, it's been like, has it been 2 years since I talked to homegirl?
and you're like, oh yeah. And then you're like,
Should I reach out to them?
and you're like,
No, it's okay.
and then that's it. And you just wake up one day and you don't smoke anymore. And so I think the biggest key when it comes to relapsing and moving away from centering weed in your life is to actually center the other things in your life. It could be your work, it could be your friends, it could be your family, it could be your community, it could be your hobbies, it could be your creativity, whatever it is. The more you have the energy and the more you focus, like where your attention goes, energy flows. When you put your attention to the things that really, really fill you up, you're gonna have less energy and interest in smoking. And the way to know if you're using smoking to suppress something that's trying to be healed is because when you think about these other areas in your life, you don't get excited, you don't get passionate, you don't get thrilled. You think like, ugh, I actually really don't want to look at and deal with any of those things. I don't like this job. I don't like my friends. I hate my family. Like, I hate my body. Like, all of these things. That's actually your roadmap to quitting, is to look at all the areas in your life that don't bring you joy and ask yourself, what is one thing I could do today to bring more joy into that area of my life? And I promise you will find over time that your whole life will become more beautiful. Smoking will just recede into the background, and then you will find yourself not smoking anymore without having to actually intentionally always think about how you're quitting. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful. Let me know where you are in your weed journey. If you want some support showing up consistently and authentically, you can put some time on my calendar for a free 30-minute discovery call. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.